Assalamualaikum and a good day for everyone. Today, we will be presenting Information Professional in Digital Era. This slideshow is prepared by Anur Alia, Amisha Hazrin, Nur Aina Safia, Siti Aisha and Shasha Amelia. We are from class JIM 110A, prepared for Madam Azura binti Abdul Jamil.
My name is Siti Aisha and today I will present about definition and challenges as librarians. There are many definitions of librarian. First, definition of librarian is a professional person who works in library. So this means that only librarian will work in the library. Next, the person who manages the library system. Librarians will manage the library system so that the library system is organized and has no problems. Next definition is a person who expert in library management. Librarians have learned how to manage library system. Next, a person who have been trained and learned about library management. A librarian has learned how to manage a library by taking the course associated with library information management while studying at university.
Every day, we often face challenges and new change that need to be adapted to our daily life. Same goes to librarianship throughout the years. Not only they have to maintain the traditional way of librarian role, but also adapt into digital roles swiftly to ensure the user's need is fulfilled. What is digital library? As an overview, digital library consists collection material in digital form. It can be accessed through computer and being stored locally by librarian. Now, what are the concepts of digital library? Digital library consists of completed documents that can be transferred from physical to digital form. Physical copies are made to be read by computer, such as CD-ROM and online database. Library also provided database about the library catalog and the website for the library source. Here are some of the most well-known roles for librarian in digital era. Firstly, Librarian Information Officer. Secondly, Classification Organization of Content. Third, Preservation Digitalization. Fourth, Administration Negotiation. Fifth, Organization Website Management. Sixth, Library Automated, Library Digital and Library Virtual. And finally, Collection of Manuscript, print collection of e-book and e-journal. In general, the librarian works together with information management team to accomplish the design and evaluating system for information access to fulfill the user's need. If it's required support and guidance from the librarian to help user finding the needed material, thus the experience has proven the user's optimal ability in digital literacy. The development digital library and the effect that enable librarian works through hybrid environment has also increased their skill through digital application and finding newest information through a mix of physical and digital source. A handful amount of librarian has become expertise in computer and software, while the rest continue to use technology in preserving human cultural record, library collection, printed old format and old computer file. Let's talk about the value of librarian. Besides on being an information management, the librarian can also develop information policy to ensure the access will be available to all. From internal records to external database, the obligation of an information must be legal and ethical. The digitalization of library has proven our librarian are knowledge-based practitioners that use research field to obtain their practice with the support and along with the association during the conducted research.
In these slides, I'm going to talk about roles of librarian in digital era. Number 1. Roles of librarian in digital era is to provide intellectual access to information in any format. In this digital era, librarians must be able to provide information to users in various formats, such as imprint, audio, video, microphone, figures, computer programs, or multimedia composites. Number 2. To evaluate available sources of information, librarians need to evaluate each type of information available to ensure that the information is true and factual. It needs to be evaluated to ensure that the information is timely and subject to frequent changes such as stock market data. Number 3. To organize and structure information, librarians plays a role in organizing and managing all the information available in the library. But this task is not easy. Many librarians face problems in the process of organizing and managing information. Working with such resource requires an understanding of traditional library management issues, but also the ability to adapt them to new environments. It also requires more than basic IT skills. Number 4. To ensure the preservation of information. It is important that all this information is preserved and protected to ensure that it is not lost. Librarians and archivists have been given guidance to preserve and protect this information over a long period of time. Number 5. To provide specialized staff to offer instruction and assistance in interpreting resource and access to resource. Librarians also have the task of providing assistance to users to find the desired information. This is because there are users who are not good at using it, causing them to miss important information. Therefore, these librarians have all been trained with specific skills and knowledge according to their own fields to help users. On these slides, I'm going to talk about knowledge and skills of librarian. Number 1. Communication skills. As librarians, they need to have good communication skills. This is because librarians will always communicate with users to help them with something related to the library. With good communication skills, it can keep visitors coming, besides being able to attract their attention. Number 2. User orientation skills. Librarians need to provide full support and assistance to users so that they can make full use of library resource. In addition, librarians can always provide information about new books to users so that users can learn about new resources that they can use. Number 3. Time management skills. Librarians need to be good at managing time so that they can save time for librarians and users. Librarians can make proper schedules and plans beforehand so that librarians can provide smooth service to users. Number 4. Leadership skills. Librarians need to have high leadership qualities to operate this service. Librarians need to be smart in organizing and directing others to follow the right things and make the right choice. Even librarians can give motivation and words of encouragement to them to achieve a goal. Number 5. ICT skills. Technology is increasingly used in the library's operating system. Therefore, every librarian needs to have the knowledge and skills to handle this technology to perform various operations of library. Number 6. Generic knowledge. Generic skills are important and must have skills for librarians. Librarians need to have communication, interpersonal, critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork skills that enable one to work in social activities. This is because generic skills are most often sought after, followed by disciplinary skills and then personal skills. Most of them are also looking for those who can adapt in a rapidly changing work environment.
Here are some admirable characteristics of librarian: willing to take risks, to adapt into new environment and changes, having flexibility working through hybrid environment, and finally, the capacity and desire to work independently.
Next, I will present about challenges as librarians. There are so many challenges that librarians have faced. One of them is lack of computer skill. This is because some librarians are lack of exposure to computer skills. Next is lack of effective communication between librarians and user. Librarians should serve their customer well so as not to cause problems to users. Next is have poor online service. There are some libraries that have a bad online library system. This makes it difficult for librarians to do their work, such as checking customer book loans, saving library data, and checking books that have been returned. This also affects library users because they cannot access the online library system. The next one is COVID-19 pandemic. There are so many people have to stay at home because of COVID-19. So the library lacks of customer. And lastly is lack of staff. The lack of library staff may be due to many people not being interested in becoming librarians. That's all from me.
In this slide, I'm going to talk about archivist in terms of records officer or manager. The definition of records officer or manager refers to the person hired by the political subdivision or chief administrative officer of each governmental body to assist the state archives with the maintenance, scheduling, designation, categorization, disposal, and preservation of records. Next is the roles or responsibilities that records officer or manager must have. There are 6 of them. First one is protecting data security. Second, destroying or archiving finished data or records. Third, writing reports and publications. 4, categorizing and indexing documents. 5, creating, sustaining, confirming, and assessing current systems. 6, implementing new records management systems. Next one is the roles in digital era. First one, we got embracing the ICTs. This means the ability to tactfully develop strategies to promote record keeping as tools that will enhance good governance in organization. Most of records officer manager must have to embrace their ICT in digital era soon. Second is core skills and competencies for handling e-records. The means by this point is the records manager needs a change in the techniques of records management. For example, they need to review the whole concept of the record cycles and the attendant processes and procedure to use to manage the records. The third one is strategies for managing e-records. Some of the strategies that the records officer and manager can do is ensure that the paper and electronic records that we use will have to coexist at the same time. Next one, we have knowledge and skills. There are 4 of them. The first one, we got information management skills. Information management skills mean we have to understand the information of management issues and their perspective so you can contribute more to become a successful records officer or manager. Second one, we got professional skills. Professional skills can be very beneficial if we use it properly. To make it beneficial, we have to mix with the hard and the soft skills. For instance, leadership, communication, time management, and decision making. Third one, we have domain skills. Domain skill means the abilities or skills to particular industry. In this case, I'm talking about archivists. So inside of the archivist, we have record officer or manager. So to become a professional records officer or manager, we must have the ability to contribute more on information itself. And other than that, our domain skills also may differ significantly to other industry. For one, information management technology skills.
Information management technologies could also include both hard skills such as specialized technology knowledge, for instance, cloud security and coding skills, and other than that, the soft skills also being used into the skills such as good communication and organization. Next one, we got characteristic of an archivist. As you can see in the slide, there are 4 of them. The first one is social responsibility. When we talk about responsible, as an archivist, finding the source of a document, especially those that are related to historical period, it is important to consider the effect after you successfully retrieve them. Second one is conventional. It is conventional for an archivist to provide a completed source with its detail. The third one is artistic. The artistic in archivists is from the way they understand the value of the arts and humanity from the past. Fourth one, the investigative. Investigative is the characteristic that refers to how detailed an archivist would be in analyzing the material to provide the best understanding and explanation on a certain subject. And the last one is the challenges of an archivist. First one, we got changes of format archive from traditional to digital. Second one, archive role limited to historical value, political, and science. And third one, traditional world has a lot of subject to be archived into documentation, so this makes it more difficult to network and present to the others. Fourth one, international might have difficulty accessing record due to the differences of requirement. And the last one, a record is needed as a valuable proof. So for the last one is a museum. The definition of museum is an institution dedicated to preserving and interpreting the primary tangible evidence of humans and the environment. The word museum has classical origins where in its Greek form, museon, it means seat of the muses and indicates a philosophical institution or place of contemplation. A museum is a building where we see many artistic, cultural, historical, traditional, and objects of scientific interest. It is a great source of knowledge. It not only gives us knowledge but also familiarizes us with the history, culture, civilization, religion, art, architecture of our country. And the second one is the role or responsibility for museums. First one is sense of community and place by celebrating collective heritage. Number 2, offering a great way to get to know the history of a particular area. 3, preserve, shares, and collect some of the most important exhibits, objects, and artifacts known to human history. And 4, enrich and develop a functioning democracy. The third one is the museum roles in digital era. First one, the museum illuminate artwork, which introduces a handheld device that needs to be pointed at a specific sculpture, artifact, or painting. It is to display pop-up snippets, details, descriptions, and additional photography as augmented reality. Number 2, one of the most interesting and popular is the ability to x-ray ancient mummies, which allows visitors to experience the interior as well as the exterior of this fascinating discovery. Number 3, virtual reality, digital guides, downloads, apps, and digital pathways are all increasingly available to anyone and everyone to access information. And next one is knowledge and skill for museum. Number 1, in modern internet era, museum provide wide range of information about collections, exhibitions, and venue to its community through museum websites. Number 2, museum websites offer interactive online learning and flexible exploring to the cultural heritage. Number 3, the role of museum and art galleries have changed and expanded their services beyond the traditional boundaries. Number 4, audience do not like to gaze at exhibits and museum professionals should have to be actively engaged with them to make their visits more enjoyable and meaningful. And number 5 is the etiquette. The first standard rule about museum is that eating and drinking are prohibited in museum galleries. Here you cannot eating and drinking. Number 2, some institutions do not allow photographs or video to be taken. Number 3, visitors are reminded not to touch objects and works of art. Number 4, running, showing, pushing, and other physical activity are also prohibited. Number 5, visitors refrain from making loud noises. Next one, visitors may be allowed to sketch in the museum, but only on certain type of museum. The use of tobacco is strictly prohibited also in the museum. And last one, pets are not allowed in museum. Number 5B is the attitude. The museum is a good steward of its publicly held resources. Number 2, the museum plans strategically for the use and development of its collection. Number 3, museum administrative authorities and staff think and act strategically. The museum interpretive content is based on appropriate research. Authorities, staff, and volunteers ethically and effectively carry out their responsibilities. Number 5, the museum is clean and well maintained. And 5C, special character. The museum legally, ethically, and effectively manage documents, care, and use collections. The museum complies with local, state, and federal law, codes, and regulations pertaining to its facilities, operation, and administration. And 3, the museum has appropriate measures in place to ensure the safety and security of the public, its collection or objects, and the facility it owns or uses. And number 6 is, and the last one is challenges. Although the development of museums seems to benefit from the application of digital technologies, the digitization of museums also brings some disadvantages. For example, physical museums become more isolated and do not function without the participation of visitors. And number 2, the audience also lost the opportunity to share and communicate their views with others. From a user's point of view, digital museums are not meant to replace traditional museums. Instead, digital information should complement the physical and museum.